The Right Side with Doug Billings.
I'm excited to be able to talk to you about and introduce you to Grant Cardone. Grant, thank you for joining the Right Side. I appreciate you, man.
Hey, appreciate you. Thank you so much, Doug, for having me, and thank you for all that you do for America.
My gosh, well, thank you. I mean, where do we begin? The Cardone Capital and group, the Cardone Training Technologies. You're on, TV. You've got crowdfunders out there. The season 2, aren't you? The Discovery Channel, Undercover Billionaire, all of that. We've seen you everywhere, Grant.
Yeah, well, thank you. Only in America, I think they say. So it's a beautiful place that we live in. Hopefully we keep it that way. I grew up in raised by a single mom, 5 kids, and we didn't have anything in a refinery town from Lake Charles, Louisiana. My dad died prematurely, and I've always dreamed of, doing something special with my life. And this country's allowed me to do a number of things that takes care of my family and our investors and our partners. And I'm, proud to be in America.
Amen. Amen. So I have seen you on X. We've exchanged a couple of messages on X back and forth. I see you hosting a lot of X spaces. You talk a lot. As you look at the state of play, Grant, and this is not rehearsed, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time Grant and I have spoken. We're just kind of having a conversation here. As you look at the state of play of the economy in America, and, factor in what President Trump is doing. A lot of people panicked at the beginning when they heard the word tariff. Factor in what he's done for the digital currency, the Bitcoin, the Genius Act, and so forth. A lot of good stuff. Factor in what your sense of the state of play in the economy is.
Yeah. So, just for your audience to know, I voted Democrat half of my life. I was, raised into a Democrat family. This was a different Democratic Party, though,
Yes.
Back in 50s, 60s, 70s. And then in the past 20 years, I had to leave that. They left me, actually. And so I supported Donald Trump through 3 elections. I know his family. I have no connections with the family, or I don't do any business with them, but I did support him because I wanted exactly what's happening right now, like the tariffs. I knew the tariffs would not create inflation because I'm a businessman. And I know that China increasing the price of their rubber ducks by 100% or 1,000%. I make the choice as a consumer whether I want to buy that rubber duck or not. So when the rubber duck goes from $1 to $1,000, I just say, no, I don't want to buy the rubber duck. That is not a tax. That is a choice. But when I earn $1,000 and you take taxes from me, you take 40% of that money, that hurts me because I don't have a choice in that activity. I have a choice to buy the rubber duck. And also, as a businessman here in America, when rubber ducks start selling for $1,000, I figure out a smart way to build a rubber duck and sell those in this country. So those would have forced jobs here. Tariffs did not create inflation. And the people that were on the right side of business said it wouldn't, and it didn't. And number 2, Donald Trump used those to bring people to the table that have not been at the table negotiating with America for the right things in a long time. And that's through the Bushes, the Clintons, the Obamas, even Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan didn't bring them to the table like Donald Trump has. He's brought everybody to the table with the threat of tariffs. And now you can see in present time that we're negotiating with all the countries that we need to negotiate with to bring jobs back here, manufacturing back here. And it did not affect the price or the cost of goods and services.
What do you see? Okay, so the shutdown. And just to be fully transparent, I'm not panicked about it. I kind of enjoy it. I know there's people that are panicked, good people. Next week, SNAP, people not being able to get food money, any kind of a sellout, any kind of any other sabotage that you see the radical left trying to pull with regards to anything that has to do with the shutdown.
Well, so all these are organized. I think America's waking up since COVID.
Yeah.
COVID was the great awakening. The greatest thing that came out of COVID is now all of America, whether you got a shot or didn't get a shot, all of America is now, I think, been awakened to the fact that we are lied to on a daily. If there's a SNAP protest, it will be organized. The Black Lives Matter was organized. The recent protest in Chicago, those were all organized. You can see people leaving at 1 o'clock. As soon as they don't pay them anymore, boom, they all disperse. These are organized efforts by a handful of people These are not mass numbers of people. We're not going to have organized. We're not going to have protests because of the snap. I'm 67 years old, Doug. I've seen this every 2 to 3 years. They negotiate the budget.
You've said exactly what I've said, Grant. Everything, and words are important. Everything that the radical left does, they're under orders from their hierarchy. First of all, they are under orders as far as what they say and what they don't do. They are under orders not to give Trump any accolades for any victory. In fact, make fun of and draw away from. In the No Kings March was nothing more than a conniption fit, but because they didn't win the election and they're just trying to act out. And Schumer, and I'll land here and let you, and I want to get your comment. Schumer is held hostage by, 2% of their party, the AOC and the squad element, the radical left kook fringe. They're held hostage by it. It just blows my mind.
And I agree with you, Doug. This is not about the Democratic Party. It's about the fringe part of the Democratic Party that is destroying that party forever. This Madami thing in New York City, this could be the demise. I think Donald Trump wants Madami to win in New York for a number of different reasons. He'll beat this guy to death and the Democratic Party for the next 3 years. It'll be his whipping post because it'll be proof and validation that he was right, that the left is a bunch of fanatics. This is crazy. Most Democrats are not like this. They do not support transgender surgeries. They do not support and funding them. They don't support the women or men and women's sports. They don't support this communist. Everything's going to be free. And back to the protests and the King's March, that was free hot dogs, free weed, free wieners. If it's free, we'll come see you. And this Madami thing could be over the top, just like during COVID. They went over the top with the 6 feet and the plexiglass, and you got to get vaccinated. And we're going to force you to do it. If you don't like it, we're going to fire you, et cetera. So I think we're going to see more and more Democrats swing over and say, look, I'm not this fringe group. Yeah. And AOC is one name. Chuck Schumer, he's the old school, and he's lost complete control. Him and Pelosi have lost control to these radical, what appear to be, from the Middle East or some other part of the world with some other agendas to bring their religion here and their way of life here, which is fine, but I don't want it forced down my throat.
Well, yeah, and you're singing exactly what we say on this program. I go so far as to say this is all purposeful. This is not organic. Whenever there's not a chaos, let's try to create chaos. Why else, Grant? Why else open borders to flood this country with multiple hundreds of millions, dozens of millions of people, because they want to dilute the American identity. That's the most frightening. Now, of course, they want new electoral base members. Yeah, hey, take this box of ballots, fill it out, and give it to the guy in the white van over there. Of course, they want that. But even more diabolical is that they want to do what Obama ordered them to do, fundamentally transform America. The first president to call it out. I knew it as soon as he said it. The most anti-American statement a president has ever made.
When I was in California, I lived there for 25 years, Doug, and I was recently back there trying to wake the state up, actually considering running for governor. And I'm like, guys, look, you're short 3 million homes. Do a little math here, okay? You're short 3 million homes. You don't let 3 million people into a state that are homeless, by the way.
Right.
No illegals came over with a home. They came with a phone, a clean T-shirt, full bellies, but they didn't come with a home. So when you have 3 million homes short, this is just one state, not the entire United States. You don't let 3 million new people in unless actually you want more homeless problems and you want to jack up the price of housing, or you're trying to get rid of the people that actually contribute. So I'm with you, Doug. All these are organized. These are not organic. Organic would be a different thing. It would be that patriotic organic. It would be organic's what happened after Charlie Kirk got assassinated. That's organic. Yeah. That's not orchestrated. It's not organized. But what you're seeing from Black Lives Matter to the Floyd stuff to the Portland, these are all organized events to try to rouse up groups of people that are probably out of work, possibly on the government dole, maybe even have drug problems, or they're actually hired and paid for by the likes of the sources that have some other agenda.
100%. Let me switch gears in the moments we have left, Grant. I've got a couple of questions coming in off of our listener line. They're wanting to know, some of the listeners, about crypto. Your opinion on crypto. Are you bullish on it up until Christmas? And one specific question was Solana, the ETF fund Solana. Are you into that, or do you know much about that? Do you have any recommendations in general?
Yeah, Solana is not that's not my space. We buy large real estate complexes and we add Bitcoin to the balance sheet of the real estate so that we have the cash flow of the real estate and the upside of the Bitcoin. I personally would not recommend to people to go out and buy Bitcoin, just Bitcoin, particularly if you're a middle-class family and you need income. First thing to focus on is income, passive income, getting passive income in addition to your earned income. And I think Bitcoin can be a bit risky for that. If you're in the middle, and if you're wealthy and you want to go put a percentage of your net worth in Bitcoin, it's going to be worth more money in the future than it is today.
How do you, what's your advice when you're out speaking to John and Jane Doe, typical middle class, maybe lower middle class? What's your advice? How do you teach these people to realize the dream of America that you've realized?
The number one thing I tell them is, number one, you got to understand the middle class is not the place you want to be. That is not a destination. That is a way station. Merely you stop there to get to the next place. The middle class is an indoctrinated spot or space sold by politicians for the last 50 years to America to suggest that you should be satisfied. Okay. The house, the American home, may not be the American dream that we were all sold. Okay. It is not an investment. It is a place to live, merely a place to live. And in fact, 11% of millionaires today rent as by choice. 11%, 1 out of 9 millionaires choose to rent rather than own a home because they would rather their money invested. And that's what I would tell people, man. Live on almost nothing and invest everything.
Excellent. Where can people find you, Grant?
But you just search the name Grant Cardone and I'll do the rest.
All right, my friend. Thanks for taking some time with us today. I know we could have gone on and on. I appreciate you.
Let's do it again.
All right, we will.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.